Bush Radio.
Bush Radio. Bush Radio.
Bush Radio.
Your real talk radio.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
I mean, even at that time, it was because I believed that Shagari was least qualified. I mean, if it had been Aminu Kano that emerged as president, I wouldn't have minded. Even Waziri Ibrahim could have, we might, but not Shagari. Because I was with Shagari for a week in 1976 in November, before elections. You know, that is for 3 years to election.
What did you see in the school teacher, Shagari? You were with him. What did you see?
Well, I phoned that I was coming to see him. I went to see him, to see Awada, to see Aminu Kano, and to see Monguno, because I wanted to assess those who are likely to emerge as president of Nigeria. And earlier on in 1976, before November, in a gathering in Atlanta, Georgia, Shagari was introduced as Nigeria president. In 1976, around February, April.
He was introduced?
Yes, in the gathering, in a white man's gathering.
Who did that?
The white people sitting down there.
They already saw it coming?
I wouldn't know, but they said that is the future president of Nigeria. But in 76 November, he said, what did I see him? So I went to see him. He came to the airport, came to the Sokoto airport, and asked me. He was driving a station wagon Peugeot. He was then a member of a Sokoto Education Board. And he offered me to sit at the back while he was on the wheel. I said, no, in my culture, I can't sit behind you while you, an elder person, will be driving me. So I sat with him, put my briefcase at the back. So went to his house, sat down, drank and ate. We ate and so on. Then during the interview, he told me all he wanted in his life was to become a senator. That was the highest he would love to have. And I said, sir, do you even think you are qualified to be a senator? I said, well, the Senate is not meant for the most brilliant or the most educated. The Senate is meant for the elderly people, the people that have wisdom of elders. And that's what Senate is all about. According, I think he read some history about Rome. He said Roman senators were not particularly the most brilliant. Even you had Cicero, you had some other people in the Senate. And so he wanted to be in the Senate. And I left it at that after spending about 3 or 4 days with him in his village. If I went to see Monguno, and I went to see Aminu Kano, and I went to see Awada.
Were you impressed by him?
By Shagari?
Yeah.
I was impressed by his humility, impressed by his candor, impressed by his tidiness. He was a very tidy person, very neat, very organized.
What was it?
His environment was clean.
What was it that did impress you?
He didn't have enough intellectual capacity or capability to rule over a country like Nigeria.
How were you able to decipher that?
Because I interviewed him, I saw him, I knew him. He had good diction, he spoke well, but he didn't have. There are questions I asked him that he couldn't answer. He didn't know who the author of Things Fall Apart was.
So when he became president, you were sure that he was going to be a disaster?
I wrote several stickers against him while he was aspiring to be president. During the campaign, I said, there was one I said in Ijebu, Shagari Eshibe, that is Shagari not here. That was the title. I said Shagari not here. In the Ijebu language, it will be Shagari Eshibe, that is not here. You can't be here. It's not you.
You called Shagari Shokoloko Bango She. How did he offend you, Chief Adeli?
When I look back on those articles, I laugh. I mean, you don't forget that was. Don't forget that was satire. You know, I enjoyed my satirical writings because you read it, you will laugh at yourself, even though you know that I'm poking fun at you, and I'm also.
But what was your meaning of Shokoloko Bango She?
Looking back and looking at his image, doesn't he look like Shokoloko Bango She?
How does Shokoloko Bango She look?
Onomotopia. Just look at the word, the way the word sounds. That's all. That's why I use the word. The way it sounds, onomotopia. Shokoloko Bango She. You know, look at it. Look at its structure.
Bro!